Today, we are going to study the bonding that takes place in hydrogen chloride. Now, in order to understand the bonding that takes place in hydrogen chloride, we have to first of all understand the electronegativity of elements. Now, if you look at this table, electronegativity difference between two elements, if it is 0 to zero point 0.0 to zero point 0.2, it will be the type of bond formed will be non-polar covalent bond. If the electronegativity difference is zero point 0.3 to 1.4, it will be a polar covalent bond. And if the electronegativity difference is greater than 1.5, then it will be an ionic compound. Now, if we look at the electronegativity in the of hydrogen and chlorine in the periodic table, then you will see that hydrogen has an electronegativity of 2.2, and if we look at chlorine, chlorine has an electronegativity of 3.16. So the electronegative difference between them is 0.96. So if we look at the table, if it is 0.96, then we find that its electronegativity difference is between zero point 0.3 to 1.4. So it will be a polar covalent compound. Now it becomes easier to draw and understand the structure of hydrogen chloride and how the bonding takes place. Again, if we move down to the periodic table and see the atomic number of hydrogen, the atomic number of hydrogen is 1 and the atomic number of chlorine is 17. Then we can write down the electronic configuration. So the first step we can do is write down the electronic configuration of hydrogen. So hydrogen has one electron, whereas when we write down the electronic configuration of chlorine, chlorine is 2, 8, and 7. So it has 7 electrons in its outermost energy level. Now let's draw the structure and see how the bonding takes place in hydrogen chloride. Now, suppose this is an atom of hydrogen and we we have an atom of chlorine. Chlorine is much bigger than hydrogen. And then if we draw the electrons, chlorine we can use a cross to draw the electrons. So it has 7 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Whereas we can make a dot for hydrogen electron. So hydrogen has 1 electron. So when they come together, we all know that covalent bonding takes place by sharing of electrons. So let us see how they share the electrons and come together to form a bond. This is hydrogen and this is chlorine. Now let's show the electrons in hydrogen and chlorine and the electrons which are shared between them. So chlorine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 electron it is sharing with hydrogen. Whereas we can draw 1 electron of hydrogen over there. So this is how they form a, a covalent bond by sharing of electrons. So we see that they are sharing one pair of electrons. Finally, we get a structure of the molecule that is H single bond Cl, and we can write it as HCl. So I hope this is clear. The bonding that takes place in hydrogen chloride is covalent bonding, and it consists of single covalent bond because it is sharing one pair of electrons.